Hey everyone, this is Aaron Anderson at Trinity FX MG. Today I'm going to show you how to get the perfect shot with your iPhone 4S using an app called Filmic Pro. Now this app is really amazing and the features it does. Let's go behind the camera and take a look. Okay, so the first step that I do is I always go into Settings, and if it's not already, you want to turn it on airplane mode. That way no one will, you won't receive a call and mess up the shot. Once I do that, I go into brightness and I turn the brightness all the way up. That way you can determine if the shot is exposed properly, and also if you're outside you can see the screen better. Once I do that, I go back out and then I go into Filmic Pro. Now inside Filmic Pro you got a few settings here, actually many settings. But I always have the camera, of course, on the back. That's the 8 megapixel camera you're going to be using on the iPhone 4S. Orientation, it depends on when you use your camera, where's the home button, on this side or that side, and that's what you get to choose here. You can put on auto, so when you flip the camera around it always positions properly. For me, on the back of the iPhone 4S, the camera, I like to be up on this side, on the other side. So I always put home button on right. That would be this orientation here. The next step is resolution. In resolution you have 1080, 720, 480, and 360. I think most of the time people are going to want to shoot 1080 unless you don't need that high a quality and you need less storage space. Then you can click on the other ones, but 1080 is probably the best option there. Then we go down to frames per second. We've got 30 frames per second, which is the normal iPhone camera, but this Filmic Pro lets you shoot in 30 frames per second, 25 frames per second, 24 frames per second, and goes all the way down. Now I usually shoot at 24 frames per second because my other cameras I use 24 frames per second, and this way I can match up this camera footage with the other camera footage and it works out great. So those are frames per second. If you're going to do slow motion, 30 frames per second would probably be your best option, although it's not a great option as far as the iPhone to use as far as slow motion. Okay, so let's go back to the reticle. Is we'll show you later what that is. I always keep it on double. That'll give you your automatic focus reticle and your what's the other thing called? I'm not sure. I'll show you later. GPS tagging, of course. When you take pictures or videos, it'll have a GPS tag on it, which I don't use. I always have mine. You can have it saved to the Filmic library or camera roll. I always choose camera roll, so there's just one place that I need to go to find my stuff. Overlays, we got audio, which of course is going to show little audio bars every time the camera detects audio. We've got the thirds guide. That gives you guides across the screen so you can see your thirds, and you can make sure the camera's level and all that stuff. We've got framing guides. I never use this, but you've got 2351. That's kind of like I believe it's like an anamorphic style. Let's show you. Let's go back out. We'll show you what that is. It's better explained here. So as you can see on here, the video is filling the whole frame. But if we go to the framing guides and put it on, let's say this one here, you're going to see this kind of a gray bar here and a gray bar here. This basically gives you the same look as you would if you were using a film camera with anamorphic lens. So if you're going to use this, you're going to make sure that your action is inside this rectangle here and not outside the gray boxes. Likewise, if we change it to, where was I at here? If we changed it to, let's say 4:3, you're going to see that you're going to have a different overlaying box. See, now you've got the gray sides over here, so you know to keep the action here. Typically, and of course you got 16:9, which is what this screen actually is shooting anyways. But for the most part, if you just want to keep it off That way you just have the whole frame of filming there. Then we've got Super 35 matte. If you turn that on, it tells you here, settings configuration, Super 35 matte requires this configuration. Well, this only works in 720. So if you want to use that, you have to go to 720. I myself usually don't use that unless I'm doing something kind of artistic or what have you on there. Color bars, you can have color bars displayed before the film starts in however many seconds you want. That way if you're doing something with broadcast, they can match up the colors correctly, so you're in a broadcast safe thing for TV. And then you got the slate. What the slate does is allows you to do like a clapboard. You can put your, if you're ready to take a scene, you can put, scene 1, take 5 or whatever, and that's how you do the slate. It's good. You can use that. I normally don't use it usually, but if you're doing a production that's going to require that, that would be great. Then you've got the slate configuration of all the settings of putting in your data there and there. Then you've got video. Well, here's Apple standard, which is just like the normal camera that comes with the iPhone 4S. You have up to 24 megabytes per second. Well, the cool thing about having Filmic Pro is you can actually go to Filmic Extreme, it's not allowed, which gives you up to 48 bytes per second, which will allow you to color grade, and it'll hold a lot more. It won't degrade the quality of the video as much as if you were to use a lower megabyte per second. So I usually use 48 megabytes per second if I know I'm going to do some color grading. If not, you can keep it down to Apple standard or Filmic quality, which is 32 megabytes per second. It's up to you. 24 will give you the most data. It'll also take up more space on your storage, so keep that in mind. So for this, let's go to 48 megabytes per second, just so we have the highest quality there. Then we've got audio, of course. I always keep it uncompressed so I get the best audio quality. And upload destinations, you can upload it to YouTube, Vimeo Plus, Facebook, Dropbox, an FTP server, and such, which I usually just do on my home computer. And then we've got the Filmic community. You can go to the Facebook and get good other people talking about the app. If you're having a problem, go there and check that out. So let's get started. Now that we got all of our settings set up, let's go back here. Now the first thing I like to do is I want to see what I want to focus on. So here's the little focus reticle right here. If you want to focus on something in the back, you just put it on there and it'll focus. If you want to focus on there or over here, in this case we are going to focus on our foreground object. Once it focuses on an autofocus there, you can lock the focus. So now, no matter if someone's moving or the camera's moving around, it's not going to jump focus in and out, which can be very annoying if you're interviewing somebody and they move a little bit forward or backwards or left to the right. It's going to constantly try to focus on them, and you're going to see the focus go in and out, which is not a professional way to go. So lock the focus down. That's another really good thing about this app. The other thing is the exposure here. Now, although we don't have direct exposure values here, you basically move this to different bright areas or dark areas of the scene, and you see that it gets brighter or darker depending on what this is on. So the best thing to do is, if this is like this blue fixture here is our main subject, you can try putting that on there. Let's see what happens. If it's like a human face or something you want to expose. Now for me that's too bright, so I'll just kind of move around a little bit here until I get something that I think looks good, making sure none of the brights are blown out and make sure none of the shadows are too dark. Now to me that looks great. Then I go ahead and I lock the exposure. And then as far as white balance is concerned, I get a piece of paper and I'll just put it in the frame like this, and I'll let the autofocus white balance get its reading there, and then I'll lock it. And then I look at it and make sure it looks good. And when I'm all ready, before we go, this little thing here allows you to turn on the LED light. If you don't have a video light, you can use that. I would recommend not using it and using better lighting, but if you're in a pinch and you don't have lighting, go ahead and turn that on. But we'll turn it off for now. So now that I got my focus, my white balance, and my exposure, I am ready to record. Then all you do is press record. And as you can see over here, you can see the audio meters. Every time I'm talking, you see it going up. So that's how to get a really good, that's how to get a proper exposure using the iPhone 4S and the app Filmic Pro. If you have any questions, please leave some comments below if you're watching this on YouTube or Vimeo or my website at trinityeffectsmg.com. Talk to you later, guys, and stay tuned for more tutorials on how to shoot video with your iPhone 4S.